As you know, February is Black History Month. After the Civil War, the Texas cattle industry boomed. Historians estimate 1 in 4 cowboys was black. It should be no surprise since they often tended to the livestock on farms and plantations. Stories about these skilled horsemen and cattle handlers were largely left out of textbooks and Hollywood scripts. Now those stories are reaching a new generation. The PBS Kids animated series Alma's Way highlights Black cowboy history in its new season.
Lots of the first cowboys and cowgirls in America were black. Check it out. This is Nat Love and stagecoach Mary Fields.
Ooh, this is Bill Pickett. He was a famous rodeo cowboy. And they put his picture on a postage stamp.
Wow.
Amazing.
And all of them.
To help get the history right, they turned to a real cowgirl. Aisha McElroy, founder of the Black Cowboy Coalition, served as a cultural advisor. She helped make sure the episode was authentic, from the fashion to the dialogue. Aisha joins us to share that process and the bigger picture, keeping the legacy alive. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well. I should say howdy.
Howdy.
Yeah. All right. When you were a little girl growing up in Oakland, California, you saw black cowboys pass by your house in a parade. And that was memorable because it was something that you had not seen before. Take us back to that very first time.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, when I saw that cowboy pass me on the street, I was like, what is this? I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. It was nothing that I had ever seen on TV. And it really got me intrigued about, okay, where'd this guy come from? And I later learned that he was a part of the Oakland Black Cowboy Parade because fortunately enough, my karate teacher, so my father had us enrolled in karate school, and my karate instructor, he took a group of kids from the community to go get horseback riding lessons. So this was literally a year after I saw this cowboy. And then I realized where they were. They were in the Oakland Hills. And so it was beautiful how, that path was laid out to me so early. But, again, this was my first exposure to a cowboy. I had not seen that on TV. But fast forward to having a conversation with my grandfather when I was in my 30s, he tells me that my family we come from cowboys, ranchers, and farmers. And, so it was so beautiful. It was like a full circle moment for me to learn so much about, my own family being involved in agriculture.
Yeah, and to your point, westerns were some of the biggest genres of television shows that we would watch, but we didn't see the reflection of African Americans in those movies as well. All right, the Black Cowboy Coalition. You went on to really kind of curate this whole story, and so the Black Cowboy Coalition does that. You founded that in 2021. Tell us what went into making that.
Yes, ma'am. So the mission of the Black Cowboy Coalition is to bring agriculture back to the community by way of cowboy culture and innovative programs. And how this came about was I was immersed in communities that had black cowboys and ranchers, and I was going to trail rides. And this was back when nobody was talking about trail rides. Nobody knew about trail rides, honestly, until I started putting that on my page. I kind of take that. But, from this, I said, you know what, let me start doing a little bit more research about, where these cowboys are located, where are these farms and these barns. So I started digging in and started doing analytics. And it turned into me thinking, okay, well, I can't hoard this information. And so I have a background in IT. I created a database. I built a database, and it turned into the Black Cowboy Directory. And from that grew into the Black Cowboy Coalition. We decided that, hey, we need to start doing some community engagement. We need to work with these barn owners and these ranchers who have these programs. So why not offer them to the community, because it doesn't exist today. So that's really where the Black Cowboy Coalition grew.
You have so many different initiative programs, including mentorship and heritage education, which you touched on, horsemanship and young ranchers workshop. And then the PBS Kids animated series, Alma's Way. How did you make your way there?
Oh my God. So when the Fred Rogers production team contacted me, I was blown away because, I grew up watching Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and things of that nature. And so to be able to be a part of such an amazing animated show such as Alma's Way, it was such an honor to me. I worked with these writers who were incredible. They were so sensitive to our culture. They were so sensitive to just getting it right and making sure that every detail that properly represented the cowboy way and the past and the present history was accurately told. So it was really incredible being able to work with such a talented team and them just being so honed in on the sensitivity around our culture.
And the authenticity of it, which they brought you in to share, in Cowboy Howard, and it shines that spotlight on Black cowboys for children in particular, but adults can learn from this as well. But why do you think it is so important for kids to see?
Because it introduces them to, just like with me seeing that cowboy, it introduces them to a life that they may or may not know exists, and within Cowboy Howard, you meet a cowboy from the Bronx, and a lot of people don't know that there are urban cowboys. One thing that people didn't realize until maybe our organization came about is that there are so many cowboys throughout the United States, and they're just hidden in these areas. And what Cowboy Howard was able to discover just by believing in himself, he was imagining at the start riding horses and meeting a cowboy, and then along his journey he got cowboy boots, and he met individuals who were immersed in that culture. So it's really important for children, or this episode is really important because children can see that if you have a vision, if you have a dream, you can make it come to reality if you just have that faith and you believe. So yeah, I think that was so cool about Cowboy Howard, because he just really just started from that dream and he made it happen.
Yeah, and
that was him making it.
You helped to make it come to life. I mean, from everything from the shape of the boots. What went into the shape of the boots? Was it the kind of classic cowboy boot that we see, or did you do something a little bit differently?
Yes. So initially they presented a shape that was something that you see, naturally in cartoons. It was more, I can't describe the shape, but I had to let them know that, okay, there are different styles of cowboy boots and there are different styles for different occasions.
Mm-hmm.
If you're riding, then you wear a square toe. You're trying to dress up and look cute, you wear a pointed toe. And so I'm not the best artist, but I got on the computer and started drawing shapes with the boots that they presented to me. And, they were just so receptive. They were so open to the suggestions that I presented to them because, like I said, they wanted to make sure that they got it right. So they were very big on details here.
Yeah, including dialogue. All right, some additional stories of the Black Cowboy. Filmmaker Jordan Peele's new 3-part docuseries, High Horse, the Black Cowboy. Tell us what's in this docuseries.
So to be honest, I haven't been able to check that docuseries out, but I have seen highlights. And a lot of those individuals I've worked with in the past or I've come across with during my work. And these are real boots on the ground cowboys. What I've heard about this documentary today, he goes into the history, he goes into from the past to the present day cowboy, and he talks about the many different stories that represent us. Our community is so diverse. It's not a one size fit all kind of look or approach or background or style. And so I think he did a really good job in capturing that.
Yeah, it's interesting. People go, "Oh, black cowboys." Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, even with the black jockeys in the beginning, when they would have all of those, horse races, is because they were the ones working with the livestock at the time, especially during enslaved times. Yeah,
absolutely. Some of the first Kentucky Derby winners were black. And so that history, for whatever reason, has been left out of history books. So, we learned about jockeys in elementary school and in middle school, but we never learn that there were any black ones. So I love that social media is really enhancing that and helping us to get more insight on our history.
Yeah, and how it took all of us to make this country great. All right, Aisha, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. For links on where to stream Season 3 of Alma's Way for free and to learn more about Black Cowboy Coalition, visit greatdayhouston.com and we'll connect you.